I also want to have a look at immigration and refugee seekers, because that's a very big issue in the whole of Europe now. So I spent a bit of time on the West Coast, on your border, the Mexican border, and also in some of your inner cities, looking at the problems that you have, and particularly the drug-related nature of crime.
What did you find on the border? And where were you exactly?
We went down south of San Diego, and I went down at dusk, because that's the time you have to go. And we first flew along it and looked at the groups of young Mexicans all waiting along the border. And then when it got darker and darker, we went out to the border patrol, and we saw them running over. And some are stopped, about 1,000 a night are stopped, but something like about 4,000 come through. So there's not very effective control there. And I think your country is very tolerant. You absorb and accept these people, as you do from other parts of the world. The movements of people like this, in my view, is going to become the big issue of the 1990s. Certainly as far as Europe is concerned. We're now faced, all the countries, Germany, France, and Britain, with large numbers of asylum seekers. We're getting about 1,000 a week, and they come from all over the world. And this presents big problems for us. And we're all taking measures to try to check this flow. We want to distinguish between the genuine asylum seeker, the person who is fleeing from real political persecution, murder, torture, rape, and someone who's just moving to another part of the world because the grass is greener and the economy is stronger.
Is it a political issue in Great Britain, meaning are there sides to this? I mean, can you take a side?
Not really in Britain. It's become a big political issue in Germany. It's dominating German politics because last year they had about 400,000 ethnic Germans returning to Germany and about 200,000 refugee seekers from the rest of the world. There's only so much any country can absorb and handle, and that rate is continuing this year. And you had a resurgence of very nasty politics in Germany, extreme right-wing politics, because there have been racial disturbances based essentially upon the numbers of people coming in. And the same in France, where the flow is not so much from East Europe as it is in Germany. It's more from North Africa. Marseille, about 40% of Marseille is now basically North African. And this has reawakened the old debate, what makes France, as it were, what makes French people French. And it's become very big politics as far as Europe is concerned. And I don't want those sorts of anxiety politics and extreme right-wing politics, actually, to re-emerge in Britain. And I don't think that they will.
What's the rule in Great Britain about how many new immigrants you take every year?
We take those who have rights to settle in our country, about 50,000. And these are people who basically got an established right to work in our country, or else people who've got relations in our country. Many more want to come in, but we have immigration rules, about 50,000. And on top of that, we have now about 50,000 asylum seekers.
We saw a lot of stories a number of months ago about the Hong Kong experience and the Vietnamese trying to get into Hong Kong, trying to get out. And that wasn't, I guess you could say it was not an uncontroversial issue for you all. How did you deal with that?
Well, you said the Vietnamese wanting to go into Hong Kong and get out. Most of the Vietnamese want to go into Hong Kong and stay there. And we've established camps there. And we've got about 64,000 Vietnamese in Hong Kong at the moment. And there's been about another 20,000 in the course of this year. And Hong Kong really can't take any more. And fairly soon we're going to have to start repatriation, which is a difficult and controversial policy, and I know how strongly America feels about this. But there's only so much movement of people that you can actually take.
You ever get mad when you hear Americans say that you all ought to take all those folks in?
No. Not really. What do you mean take all the Vietnamese into Hong Kong? It's physically not possible. The size of Hong Kong doesn't allow it. Hong Kong is a very crowded community as it is. And you just couldn't, if you have an open door and say this is an open door policy, let anybody come, they'll crowd in. Anybody will crowd in, not just from Vietnam, but from mainland China and everywhere. And so at some stage you have to say, we can take so many, but not everybody.